did it like every other time.
It's not looking right.
Of course not. Let's see here.
I'm going to go over here. And no, it's not. It's created another stream.
This mother...
All right. Well, you got 3 people on, so...
Do we?
Yeah. Yeah, it does that sometimes when you create one. Like...
Oh, no. It's live. 3 watching.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. No, it's on there.
Yeah, I see it, but it looks weird over here. I'm not sure why.
We'll get out of there.
Looks like somebody's in with us, so... Hello, everybody! This here is Bandless. This is a weekly podcast that, seeks to explore the solo music creative landscape, experience, hardships, challenges, all that stuff.
There we go. There we go. People.
Hello, Anthony. Hello, Development.
Development of a Void.
We were scared.
Yeah.
No matter how many times we do this, you can't ever completely trust it, can you?
Restream seems a little tricky.
Yeah.
I would imagine it's a difficult thing, difficult piece of engineering because there's so many moving parts. So we have OBS that's streaming into it, or like everybody's individual hardware going into it, and maybe some of the nuances of that. And then there's attempting to take all the streams in that are coming in with different bandwidth and all that kind of stuff, and then spit it all out, synchronized audio and video, multiple streams. Yeah.
Hey,
few things going on.
Why are you down here, Pooch?
It's pretty tricky. I've had a lot of problems with it in the past few months.
Yeah, that's what you've been saying.
Like,
Barry Pro, sir, good to see you. Hope you are well.
A little bit of an issue for here real quick.
I'm going to introduce today's topic. I'm sure most of you have seen it floating around the internet, but we're talking about basic, simple, and minimal. And from both perspectives. So from the perspective of where Stephen, Nick, or myself have gone about something in a very complex way, unnecessarily complex, and it has tripped us up and, been a big mass of holding us back and holding us down. Possibly, hopefully, a revelation. We'll see as we get through the stories. And then the other way, from the other perspective of, things that we have adopted or just naturally come to that are very simple and basic and serve us in much bigger ways, much greater ways. I guess relating to that 80-20 rule, getting 80% of the results you're looking for with 20% the effort. Not to say that it's a shortcut and being lazy, but getting big results with effective and smart workflows, use cases, philosophies, etc. So that's what we're talking about today. How are the gents doing? How's Stephen and Nick?
yeah, I'm well. Yeah.
Awesome. Good to have you back.
How are you?
I'm super good. I have my crystal clear water. I haven't been drinking alcohol, and I've been sleeping like a normal person.
That'll do it.
And let me tell you, I didn't even drink a lot of alcohol. It's not like I had a problem. I just every week have a few beers, and I'm starting to realize that in my nearing 50 lifestyle here, doesn't agree with me the way that it maybe once did.
Boy, brother, isn't that the truth? I had a couple drinks over the holiday weekend, and again, nothing to excess at all, but it's just hitting me completely differently, and I'm like, hold on a second, what's going on here?
Yeah.
I had 3 beers at a cookout a week ago, and I was like, I feel like shit. What is happening?
Yeah. It wasn't a good time.
Age.
Yeah, it used to be like, all right, we're getting started, and nope. I just felt bad immediately. I had a headache, and I was like, I kind of want to go home.
You went straight to hangover.
Yeah.
Bypass drunk.
You
straight to
bypass the
hangover.
buzz part, the best part. You're just like,
Yep.
Yep,
Amazing.
such is
well,
life,
live
right?
and learn.
Yep.
Here's
No,
living,
I'm
here's
on
to
the
living
water
a more
as well.
Simple, simple lifestyle. And here we go. Simple, clean living.
Yep.
Ain't nothing wrong with it. Oh,
Yay.
all on the water tip. Great.
Yep, yep.
So yeah, today's
Tip
topic.
number 1, water.
How do you guys feel about today's topic? Oh, before we get to that, I want to just something I want to always address is like the celebration of the folks, you guys, and as well as some of the people viewing. And so the first thing I want to bring to attention is Anthony Nieto released a video, I think today. I only saw the preview of it so far. And I think, Stephen, did you not release a video today as well?
I did. It's very silly,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's
That's okay.
Being
Silly videos are good.
Being silly is fun. But, and another thing, you weren't with us last week, but Stephen, congratulations on crossing 1,000 subscribers.
well,
It's
thank
huge.
you. I appreciate it.
I'm stoked, super stoked for you, and stoked
We
for
have
what the future
a thousand watch hours, I think, to get before I'm monetized.
holds. Monetized, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'll watch on repeat.
Put it on a loop.
If I could single-handedly.
How many hours do you have? Do you know?
3,000.
31, something like that. 3,100
Huh.
out of the
For those
4,000.
of you who do not know what we're talking about, you have to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours in order to monetize your YouTube channel. And it's really just YouTube's vetting process to prevent scammers from just, taking hold of the system. It's a bit of work to get there, but I think it's worth it in the end. Not necessarily that you make a lot of money on YouTube, but that little bit as an artist or a creator that you make on YouTube, in addition to selling MP3s, streams on Spotify, selling merch, affiliate links, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, all of those things together, suddenly you're like, oh, I might be able to actually pay my rent and buy a week's worth of groceries.
Yep. Drops in the bucket, like you say.
Yeah, all those drops working in concert.
I made $1.33 from affiliate links this month. Yay.
Amazing.
Hey, man. That's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I remember setting up affiliate links
Yeah.
on
Damn.
WikiLeaks affiliate.
yeah. After Bunn kind of got on me, he's like, dude, come on, like this is like, it's something you don't really have to think about. So I just throw them in my descriptions, and people go through on Amazon or wherever and make a couple bucks here and there, and sometimes they'll see a deposit from Amazon. I don't even think about it,
Yeah.
So
It's
good.
It's a big help when like all the little pieces working together.
Yeah, absolutely.
The modern artist, and that's what we're talking about today. Being
have
the
to
modern
diversify.
artist and getting the most out of that process. None of us are experts, as most of you know, and so this is all just a discussion in terms of what may be working, may not be working for us. But just before we get into that, I would like to say thank you to all of the folks with us over at Patreon. And yeah, without them, I don't know if we'd be able to do this, especially the three-way kind of
Right.
looping it all in like this. That's a big one. But yeah, who wants to kick it off? What and you can go about it from the perspective of enormous amount of complexity, unnecessary complexity that you went about something. It could be complexity of gear, complexity of process, complexity of workflow or admin tools, or I don't know, or admin process. Doesn't really matter. You could come at it from complexity. You guys want to do complexity first or simplicity first? Let's do complexity first.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of have one off the top of my head that I know we brought up and talked about, maybe not in depth, and we probably won't go in depth this time, but it's something that saved me, or something that saved me a buttload of time because it can be a complex undertaking, and that was social media, and then introduction of Later, because with Later, and again, this is not a sponsored thing. I'm not sponsored. I pay for it, but those of you who don't know, Later is a platform where you can upload social media content and then push it to multiple social media streams inside of one platform, and you don't have to go to any of those platforms. So for me, as many of you know, I've been rather candid about my feelings about social media, and
In terms of participating in it.
my reluctancy, and yeah, you know what? I know that when I'm thinking about it with a clear head, it does have its positive. There's pluses and negatives, but the pluses for us as small creators is probably outweighs the negative if we use it in the right way. But I get grumpy about it. But with Later, everything is in one place, and I'm able to, like I said, I'm going to Twitter, which I never use in normal life anyway, and Facebook and Instagram, and and it makes the posts look cleaner and nicer, in my opinion too. You can have spacing in the blurbs, and tag people, hashtags, relevant hashtags that help you find stuff. It has a bunch of tools built in. And it's it's actually really affordable for what it does.
Isn't it like $8 a month?
Something like that, yeah. I think maybe I'm paying, 8 sounds right.
Yeah.
And
I had it for quite a while.
Yeah, there was an issue with it for a while. I think that's why you ended up dropping off.
Yeah.
But it's streamlined when I do participate in social media, which I acknowledge I don't do enough. But it keeps me from getting distracted by it too, because having to go like, all right, I'm going to do this thing on Instagram. I remember early on, not that long ago, when I would post a video, I'd go to Instagram and post something about the video, and then I'd have that thumbnail somewhere in a cloud and download it, and then go to Facebook and do it, because I don't like having Facebook on my phone. And then I would go to pages like the Helix pages on Facebook and do all these posts, and it was just it's a time suck. And then you're on the platforms and you can get distracted. So I found that with this platform, with this service, it just made things super easy. I can jump on real quick, upload a picture from my camera, quick edit, throw it to Later, do the thing, and then drop it on a calendar, and boom, I'm done.
Yeah.
So as much as I wanted to dive into something nerdy and technical, I feel like that's one thing that I've benefited from the most.
And I think it's the thing that most people are reluctant into, paying for, or looking for, a viable solution to it all. Stephen, do you use any assistance for social media posting whatsoever, or management?
Yeah, I don't pay for anything. I basically I have Instagram attached to everything, so when I post something there, the same post goes everywhere.
Okay.
It's probably not the best way to do it, but it's just less for me. I also don't like Facebook, so I tend to avoid it if I can.
Right. I like Facebook. I like Facebook groups. Obviously, I have a group there, and I enjoy it. I actually enjoy it a lot. Too much so that I have to moderate when I go there. But something about social media that a lot of people don't know is that Facebook has a console so if your primary platforms are Instagram and Facebook, then they have a console where you can go into it. It's called Creator Studio, and you can manage all of your endeavors there, including all of the messaging and comments, which I love because it allows me to manage those things in a much more focused way, and I don't get lost in the platform. There are times for me where it is important for me to surf around and see what people are doing and all that kind of stuff. But by using the Creator Studio or something like Later or whatever, Later is, some of the things that I found with Later, I really liked it, especially for Instagram. But one of the things for me that didn't work is, and that's different between Nick and I, and maybe Steven as well, is I tend to post different content on every single platform. So I don't push the same content from one to the next to the next to the next. Every platform that I participate in has different content. So that's why the Creator Studio is a little bit better for me, where you can do the unison content, but it allows me to post links and stuff like that. So something about Later is you have to post media to Facebook in Later. And what I love about Facebook is that I can repurpose media. So I have a lot of YouTube videos already up. I have a lot of music already up. I can share those in link format and drive traffic to the actual destination pieces.
Right.
Which to me, it takes an incredible amount of effort to do everything. So I try to make it so that effort goes back to the important point of origin. So something to consider, not to say that there's any wrong or right way to do it, but looking at those kinds of perspectives and what's more valuable to you or what's more important to you, your overall strategy, I don't know.
Totally.
Everybody's going to be different. So,
yeah.
But I agree 100% a social media management platform is massive in terms of getting things done. Twitter also has a feature called TweetDeck. It is a different console, but it is a console, and it allows you to manage and schedule things in a very effective way. I'm not a Twitter user. I've tried a million times, but I'm like, my crowd is not on Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm on there, but I get nothing from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to participate in Twitter in a specific kind of way, and I don't have the time to do it.
Yeah, same.
I'm on TikTok as well. Miles kind of get to that, but I haven't really messed with it too much.
Yeah, TikTok, that's a tough one. Like, I have a really negative opinion of TikTok, so to go there is like really tough, and you can't use a platform to schedule for it that I know of. Maybe there's one now.
Probably not yet. I don't know. I feel like it's outside of our demographic because anybody I've seen our age or older on it, it's pretty cringe. So
I basically just go on and I post short things saying that I have a video up, and I put the link to the video. And but Miles really nails it, though. He's got a pretty big audience on there, but he's doing a lot of like covers and interacting with other people, bonding to videos and stuff. So I think there's ways to leverage it no matter how old you are. It's just how you approach it.
100%. Yeah.
And it's a job within itself. It's just how much you want to do with it.
yeah, for sure. Oops. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm behind the fold when it comes to that. Which is so interesting.
I don't know that there's going to be a return on the investment as far as time goes for that.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think I'm going to connect with people who are into Yashira on TikTok. I just don't see that crowd being there.
Probably not, no. But they're also probably not on any of the social media platforms. So
That's true. That's a really good point. Well, they're on.
I'd say that,
Bandcamp.
yeah, I would say the people that we're interacting with here are those people, really.
Right.
As far as the people that are viewing and observing our little community of folks are probably the closest you're going to get to that.
They are. And that's, I think, the main reason why I'm happiest to be here.
Yeah.
Because it's
Agreed.
Clearly our people. Like, we can all hang out and talk the same language and all that kind of stuff. Cool. Steven, do you have an item that is, I guess we're starting with complexity first. Things that are grossly complex that you may have narrowed down that was overwhelming at some point.
Well, I don't know if am I sticking with social media stuff or just anything?
No.
Anything related to being an artist, whether it be solo or with a band, doesn't really matter.
I think just gear, thinking especially for shows, like taking a bunch of stuff, unnecessary amount of venues that were mostly small. That took me a while to figure out. Like, this isn't necessary. It's to have a bunch of stuff and like a full stack or whatever. It's great. No one cares. And if anything, they don't like you doing it. So that was a thing. Like, I had a 512 115 cab that I had from Omega.
512. Great.
Yep. Sean, he still has it. He uses it for recording because it's got a bunch of different speakers in it. So you get a lot of tonal variation out of one.
I do want a 612.
Yeah.
For sure.
Equally ridiculous, equally cumbersome, really unideal for travel. Yeah. I was right there with you until I had to lift it up and downstairs, and I was like, this thing's stupid.
Yeah.
But anyhow, yeah, that sort of stuff, and then having too many pedals, and I got to where I like my thought process was having all of them. It's like, oh, I have this palette of things, cool. Then I got to where even that got so then I got like a true bypass looper, so I could create analog presets essentially, and that was cooler. Still the same amount of pedals. Still the same amount of variable if something going wrong.
Right.
And ultimately, it did go wrong pretty frequently.
Yeah. That's
but
my big beef with pedal boards in general, like with more than one or two pedals, or 3 or 4 pedals even. Like, there's a certain number that is very manageable. Do you have a number that is kind of like the ideal amount of pedals to manage?
No more than 6 ever.
Okay.
I've done pedal boards with like 15. And the funny thing is that with the true bypass looper, it takes those 15 pedals and makes them much more manageable because I'm assigning them into like 5 or 6 buttons. Groups, and then it's just a combination of things with each of those buttons. Very similar to what you can do in Helix or something. And eventually I switched to using the HX effects for a while to alleviate that pile of pedals. The dumb thing is that when I would have issues with it, is that it was never really the pedal so much as like something else that was trivial in the power process.
Power supply or even cables.
Yep, cables, power supply, variables at venues with their power distribution. I've played places that if 2 of us were plugged in on one side of the stage, some of the pedals just wouldn't turn on because there's too much power being taken. I ran into that a lot when I was using the M13 that Line 6 used to make. That if at one point everyone in the band that was playing anything other than drums had that same pedal, which is kind of the early version of what became the HX effects. But if all of us were plugged in to basically the same power, or some of us with certain buttons that would light up on the pedal, or like the display wouldn't light up, just a problem.
Wow.
So eventually I just kind of was like, well, I'm just going to go back to a bunch of pedals since this thing is going to be a pain. And then around the time I was considering that, all of my pedals got stolen anyway. So, so I had no choice. But yeah, I guess the long and short of that is it like taking too much, determining like, okay, really evaluating like, I know I have all these things I used on the record. Cool. What is necessary for a live situation? Am I too loud? I can hear myself through one of your headphones.
Well, it sounds really good in my...
You might be a little loud.
Okay, I'll turn down.
Oh, Nick has open back headphones.
Got a lot of chiming happening here. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Anyhow, I want to make sure I'm not screaming at everybody. But anyway, I kind of just was like, what do I actually need in order to accomplish these songs live, and not using exactly what I used on the recording. I think once I gave up that concept, things got easier. I narrowed it down to about 5 or 6 pedals that I could use in combination and get the sounds I wanted, and then eventually got to where I was using something that simplified that process even further by, even something like the M9 or M13. Just simplifying things in the gear world. As far as audio stuff, I still waver between simplicity and difficulty for no reason, just because I like doing weird stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. The number of shows that I have been to, either, I've played the show and I'm watching it after the fact or whatever. I'm there as an observer as well, or just there as an observer. It doesn't matter. So many of them where I've seen pedal boards, people have a problem with some part of their pedal board and then spend 30 minutes, sometimes longer, to sort it out and then start their set. I'm like,
Yep.
You just used up your whole set. And nobody, everyone's pissed or everyone's gone. I'm like,
yeah, you fuck it up for everybody else.
I've seen that. Yeah, it's so I find it so selfish. I'm like, pay attention to the time. And just because you're having a problem, bow out gracefully.
Mm-hmm.
Don't push everyone else's shit back. Yeah. Paddleboard problems, I hate them. And which is why I never got into them. I never got into significant pedal boards. I like a few things. Of course, I need to have a gate and an overdrive. I've gotten into fuzz recently, but the beauty of the Helix.
I bought this today.
HX Stump. Amazing.
So I going against my own point, I bought this today. So
What is it?
Earthquaker?
yeah, it's the Astral Destiny. It's a sub-octave reverb pedal.
Oh, shit.
I just like reverb pedals, and I won't use it live. Most likely, it'll end up just being a studio thing. But I do like pedals, but I don't tend to use them a lot for rehearsal and live anymore.
Is your whole band, Close the Hatch, onto the Helix thing now?
No, I'm the only one. I'm fairly certain it's going to go to some version of that by the time we get back to playing shows, because we're messing with I don't know if you're hip to it or not. You can use I don't know. There's a piece of software that turns your phone into an in-ear receiver, and so we've been you basically get this piece of software, you run it in conjunction with, say, something like a digital mixer or an audio interface, and it is you attach that to a Wi-Fi router. You don't need to have Wi-Fi signal, you just need the router signal, and then it sends that signal to your phone, which also has an app that associates with it.
Right.
And then you can control your mix in ears from your phone. So we're experimenting with that, and I think once we actually get to the point of using it, then every one of us is going to go in some version of a digital thing, because it's just going to be easier.
Right.
And we're using more than actual amps on our current recording. It's kind of a combination of mostly the Helix and a few plugins and the occasional amp. We've been reamping things. We're doing clean DIs of everything coming out of the Helix, and then we're reamping it using real amps. But otherwise, a lot of the bass tones of what will end up being on the record are coming from the Helix or Neural DSP stuff.
Wow.
Sick.
Yeah.
Just trying to get
good.
into the things I can't fake with it, which I guess you could, but it's silly to do it. Like feedback and noise are kind of hard to articulate with digital stuff in a way that seems convincing. That thing, we're actually in the process. Tomorrow, I'm spending most of the day recording feedback. So it's just
it's a good time.
yeah.
With the feedback thing, I definitely have ways to go about doing digital feedback, like feedback with modelers, and it sounds good, but it's the same actually it's not that different than just doing it with an amp. So it still has to be really loud. So there's
Yeah.
no benefit
Right.
to it. Like the benefit of a modeler, any kind of modeling, is that you can do it really quiet in a bedroom and over headphones.
Right.
And it sounds great. It sounds fully amped out and all that kind of stuff. But you can get really convincing feedback with a modeler, but it still has to be, pushed
Loud.
out of a speaker and super loud.
Yeah.
And the guitar actually being vibrated by
Right.
the volume of the tone. And the feedback is great, but
What's funny
you
is
still don't have the opportunity to do it all, if you're doing it in a bedroom. I'm in an apartment here. Is that an apartment?
Yeah. I'm in my daughter's bedroom at my mother's house.
Right. Okay.
Now, my dude Sean is actually making a sample pack of feedback in different keys and like
What a
tunings
smart idea.
Yeah.
because he does so much recording. Then there are times where people are like, I really wish this was dirtier or more aggressive, and that he can just be like, okay, well, this band tunes to drop C. I have banks of feedback that are in drop C. I have banks of feedback that are in E, A, whatever. And then I can just kind of pull from them as, samples
What
of
a
noise.
Great idea.
Yeah.
So
Wow. Amazing.
once that is, he's actually trying to make it like an actual pack he's going to sell. But once it's a thing, I'll get everybody hip to it because he's actually got quite a big library saved up. But
Yeah.
my intention tomorrow is just to go in the room and stand in front of an amp and make noise.
Right.
That's the whole. We did that with the last record too. Any of the feedback and stuff you heard on that record on Modern Witchcraft was recorded after the fact. It was either everything completely tracked, some feedback there, or manipulation via pedals, and because the pedals have like, I don't know how you would like multipliers with like reverbs and stuff that make
Yeah.
feedback.
You can look into them themselves.
Right. But otherwise, yeah, I went and stood. I think there's even pictures of it on my Instagram. I went and stood in front of the speakers in Popside in Troy and just turned a bunch of guitars on and stood in front of it. And we pulled up every song and recorded sections of feedback at the end of it and then cut them all up and put them in the spots we wanted.
Nice.
But listening to it, it sounds like it was organically done. It's actually proven difficult with Helix in the room to be able to recreate certain aspects that are just noise on that record when we're rehearsing because it was purely done separate.
Right.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Overdubbed and like kind of, really focused on that. Like focused on making the noise in
Right.
the moment without having to concern yourself with like how you're getting into the noise or out of the noise or whatever.
Right.
Which
So having
can
to
be-
try to recreate it in a live situation is just like, okay, well, I'm just going to make some kind of noise. Because it's not going to be that one. Interestingly enough.
Yeah.
So to summarize, in terms of the simplicity of Stephen Barton's experience here, where things went from very complex or unnecessarily complex to simplicity was specifically when gigging, but this can apply to everything, also tracking, is, be really kind of specific about the pedals that you're going to use, the gear that you're going to use, and how much of a difference does diversity in that stuff actually make. Do you need all the options in the world, or can you say a lot with a few things, or maybe with a few of the right things? You still have the same amount of options, but clever use of things might simplify your overall process. And in the nature of setups and teardowns, in the nature of technical requirements at the venue, in the nature of things malfunctioning.
Yeah. Keep things simple so they're
Yeah.
robust and duplicatable.
There's a lot actually in that scenario that
Yeah.
is at risk.
Yeah.
For the longest time gigging, I would say probably all the time actually. I've always been like guitar, head, and cab kind of guy. But when I went to digital, that all changed because the modeler offers so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, when I played bass, that's all I did was bass, cable, head, cab. That was it.
Oh,
And then
tuner.
I didn't even
have a tuner.
Didn't even have a tuner.
Yo, Bobby, give me an A.
Well, you know what's funny is, I mean, I must have had a tuner. No, I didn't. I had a Fender Aerodyne jazz bass, and that thing was that trustworthy, where I would tune before a show, we would drive wherever, and it would be fine.
Wow.
I mean, I wouldn't ever play out a tune if I could help it. So if it was never an issue, I'm sure I would have gotten a tuner, but I'm pretty sure I didn't have a tuner. At some point, I might have had a sound conditioner for my Ampeg because I was worrying about it blowing up, and oddly enough, that's what ended its life, as it got blown up. So
running it too hard for too long, Mr. Nickel.
You know what? That's honestly probably what I would. Well, I had an Ampeg at an age where Ampegs were not reliable. I don't know if that's the case anymore, but there was 10 years where they were not reliable. Like I was not the only person having problems with their Ampeg.
I worked as a backline tech, meaning I was hired by big bands to do their backline, and a lot of times it was for guitar and bass.
Mm-hmm.
Usually I did the package.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm sure you know what I mean.
Yeah, the number of Ampegs that got fried in that time, it was a 3-year period, and probably like at
early
least
2000s.
10. Yeah, at least 10 Ampegs totally fried.
Yeah.
On the solid state, like the Pro Series ones,
Mm-hmm.
the SVT 3 Pro, and 4 Pro, the transformers would blow.
That's what happened to mine. And I think I had a 4.
I have one here with a blown transformer.
Like, it had the solid state power section with...
I have one at home that has one.
12AX7, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, two preamp and a solid state
and it
power
was
amp.
just killer. It was a killer
It's my favorite
amp, man.
Yeah, sounds amazing.
And I had we're getting gear nerd talk, but I had a Sonic 210 with a 18 in it that I put, new Celestians and did the crossover custom and everything. Me and my buddy Dave put it together and cleaned it up, and the thing was so freaking loud. It was insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, I pushed that Ampeg, and I just killed it.
Yeah, that's what happens to them.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, those transformers aren't very expensive. They're about $300.
Yeah.
And if you play 300 shows before it blows, you're good.
True. That's true.
So gonna grab a few comments here. I guess I should contribute my little bit here.
Yeah. Yeah, contribute.
Yeah.
In terms of the minimalism, the move to minimalism, going from complexity to minimalism.
Yeah.
My big first bout with complexity, where it was like a big eye-opener, was I used to own a studio. I've owned a few studios, but this particular one, I was really, really set up to do everything myself, like really. All real amps, all real drums, all that kind of stuff. And I had the studio set up in such a way where I could kind of be at the desk recording and then just turn around and play kit. And I was trying to do that for a while. And so the drums were always mic'd up and everything was always mic'd up. But I had 3 bands at the time, and I was always gigging, and I was always recording other bands. And I was just like out of my mind trying to record my own music. So tear down the drums, go gig, come back, set up the drums, mic them up, try and record for an hour. Then a band's coming in to record, tear everything down, put it all away, et cetera, et cetera. That kind of thing, just over and over and over again. And so there was that element of complexity in trying to record all my music, and I was very stubborn. I'm like, I want to do it all real, man. And I'd already done a bunch of stuff with pods. I'd already recorded stuff that sounded amazing with pods, like recorded and released, and that material did really well, and that band did really well. So I was already hip to it. So just to give a time frame, this was 2009. And I'm like, I don't want to do the digital stuff. I want to do real.
The Pod XT days?
I had a Pod XT Beam though. And then I think I sold that and got the Pod XT Pod XT Pro rack. But it just wasn't working. And then my pal Artie, I heard what he was doing. I'm like, whoa, this sounds incredible. What are you doing? And he's like, oh, I just did it all in my living room. I'm like, what? And I'm picturing he had a kit set up. It just sounded so good and real. And it was all fake. And that was sort of because Bulb was already doing everything. You know, I was already hip to that. He lived in Toronto and he was friends of friends. And I knew what he was doing already. I was like, wow, it sounds amazing. But it always sounded very metal. And I didn't want to do that metal produced kind of sound. I wanted it to sound more like the hardcore scene and where things are a little more
raw,
swampy. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, it's not possible with the digital stuff. But then I hear Artie stuff and it was like 100% that. It sounded organic and, satisfying in that way. And I was just like, okay, done. I just dropped it all like a lead balloon. And I went and bought a new computer because my Mac at that time was one operating system shy of being able to be updated to run Superior Drummer. Of course. I just dropped that, went and bought a new computer, got Superior Drummer, bought the Pod HD Pro. It's in a box now, but and went to town.
Nice.
And so went from this enormous amount of complexity, and I don't know why I was so stubborn that I like it. For some reason, I thought it meant something to me to do it with like all real. I'm like, the writing and the performance are everything. And if you can get satisfying sounds, good enough sounds, that's fine. It's not the sounds that make the record. Sounds help to help it really come to life, but modern sounds are 100% there.
Yeah, and that was a common misconception because, I mean, I sort of was in that boat out of convenience at the time. Like I had a Pod HD 500, and I'm like, oh well, I'm in a place in life where I can't really afford a bunch of amps, and can't like. If I did have them, I couldn't play them in my apartment with my little kids and neighbors and, So, like, I sort of had to have that. But when I would make my recordings and then people would hear it, they'd be like, oh, man, what amps are you using? Like if people don't know what it is, it's like placebo. If they don't know what it is, most people aren't going to be like, oh, that's a pod. Everybody insists they can tell. But,
1%.
1%
of the total listening audience might be able to tell.
Right.
Isolated, maybe. In the mix, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I get your reservation. I mean,
also at the time I was recording bands every day.
Of course. Of course. So that's like what you're doing, and
yeah.
I would be the same way. And bass was a big thing for me. Like, I didn't think I was going to be able to record bass in such a way because I played with real amps at one time with a bass. So I'm like, well, there's no way it's going to capture this. But
100%.
I don't think that's the case at all because, I like my bass tones. So, and everything's in that box. I mean, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
Insane.
It's crazy.
It really is.
Stephen, can you give me a little bit of a test 1 2?
Yeah. Hello.
Test 1 2.
Hi. Test 1 2. Test
there we go.
1 2.
And hey, check 1 2.
Hello.
I think
Hey,
I've been
check.
playing with our levels while we've been chatting here, and because it seems as though your fine
Your
mic
voice is too fine.
Fine.
What's funny is that the fine is almost all the way down. Like, it's down.
Holy
Well,
shite.
it sounds really good.
Yeah, it sounds ridiculous.
Not only does it sound really good, but it's also like a really big, strong volume.
Yeah, I'm convinced. I need to get a fine.
Unbelievable.
This is I bought this one myself. They sent me 2 others. They sent me a lavalier and they sent me the K690. The lavalier is cool. It's comparable to the Rode lavalier. Undistinguishable in difference, honestly. But
this a little screw on the end.
I think so.
You don't have to go look for it. Cool.
Anyhow, it's I ordered this one because the K690 is in Canada, and then I've had to do some podcasting with my wife and anticipated doing this at some point, so I ordered another one, but I just ordered their entry level USB mic, which is I think $32 US.
And that's what this is right now?
Yeah. It's the cheapest thing they make next to
It sounds so good.
It really does.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, it's worth messing with because they're really cost effective, and yeah, I mean they clearly sound good. I can't hear it, so I don't know, but yeah.
Right. Well,
no, you sound great.
The thing that's really surprising is how you get the sort of bottom end of the proximity effect without having to be right on the mic. You know, it's got that fullness that you would get by being right up on the mic.
Yeah.
But
I gotta basically have this one up my nose.
Yeah, it has that kind of bottom end, but you're just at a casual distance, and it's hot without being spiky or anything like that. It's nice. Anyway, we're getting way off. Development of Avoid says that the audio is better. Good.
Thanks, brother. Sorry.
Thanks.
Sorry.
Yeah. And getting to some comments here. Synth Chris says, I wish I had more information on baritones. Let me check TikTok. Doesn't seem like it fits, but who am I to say?
Yeah, to each his own, right? To each his own. Live and let live.
I feel like you're going to
read it.
Yeah.
You feel like you're going to...
You'll end up with like weird Karen videos and a lot of political stuff. That tends to be what I see on there.
I'm sure, Stephen, you're a fan of... Tom Segura and Christina, obviously.
I am.
So you see her curations from TikTok, and it's like the underbelly of society. It's interesting.
Yeah, it got a direct feed into any trailer in the world.
Yeah, it takes me down, man. I can't.
I would agree. It's a genuine bummer for sure.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, it's funny. So for a little bit of context, Bunn, like. Tom Segura and Christina, they're both comedians. They're married, and they have a podcast together called Your Mom's House. And Christina,
I know about it,
Christina's discovered this like underbelly of TikTok, like so much so that TikTok doesn't like that she like promotes this,
right?
Because it's that cringy, man. And it's typically, that's why I made the joke. It's typically older people who just have no grasp of what the platform is, and it's just
going for it.
Insane shit. It's insane. So
my favorite thing that you'll see on there is someone threatening to beat someone else up for a post they made.
Right.
Right.
Like, I better not see you posting on here. Like, all right.
Yeah.
We don't live in the same state, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's so wow.
But yes, I'll watch like a minute of her curations, and I have to bow out because I'm like, no, it's just takes me down. Takes me down.
They're rough.
Yeah, the whole TikTok platform takes me down in a really pretty gnarly way. But
I get it.
I haven't kept up with it though. It's been about a year since I've been on it, so
we don't need it. Yeah. We don't need it.
I'm going to explore it again because I just don't want to be an ignorant person. But
talk to
Anthony,
Miles. He knows his way around it.
Miles is a champion. He knows
absolutely.
how to have fun.
He's the young pup of the group, so
that's right. Yeah. Miles is definitely like a little bit younger, a little bit more like...
That'd be a fun series,
hip
having
to the fun
Miles
stuff.
teach us how to use TikTok as
Let's do
creators.
I'd really enjoy
Let's do
that.
it. Actually, we're going to get Miles on. We're going to talk about TikTok.
That's a great idea.
And give it a fair as a musician. Well, if he wants to do it, maybe he's too big of a TikTok star now to,
Yeah.
Oh boy.
He might have to schedule some time.
He's gonna have to schedule some time.
Can we get
This is a possibility. But Anthony Nieto says, Bunn mentioned YT Studio a while back. For those who don't know, YT Studio is YouTube Studio. There is a once you have an account where you're producing and sharing videos on YouTube, there is a studio component to it, which allows you to manage all of those things.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's very in-depth. It was not always as in-depth as it is.
It's getting better and better. They just updated it again.
Yeah, I really like it.
On the phone, at least.
Yeah, I don't
The
use the
videos that they suggest are based upon your algorithm too, so that stuff's super helpful because it'll show you videos that will help you individually go somewhere else with what you're doing, which is nice.
Oh.
Yeah.
So like those little like suggestion videos, like watch this if you want to go to this level of things or you want to do this with your channel, those are also based in an algorithm. So
Really? I did not know that.
I wasn't fully paying attention. I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's good.
So like if it sees YouTube sees you like repetitively going and looking at a specific type of video for YouTube creation, it kind of starts to manipulate those videos it suggests for you in Studio to pertain to what it is you're looking at.
Right. Very
interesting.
And it's only like if you're like how do I get X amount of subscribers? How do I increase my viewership as far as watched hours and stuff? It'll just start being like, you want to do this if you're trying to build hours, and it's YouTube's own stuff. Yeah. They also have filmmaking courses on there and stuff. Like there's a lot of really cool stuff in the back end of YouTube.
Yeah, I didn't see the filmmaking stuff, but yeah, I typically take their courses because they're really good, but I don't follow the rabbit hole of them usually, which maybe I should consider. But to speak to Anthony's post here or comment, all of the big platforms, so not TikTok is a big platform, but they don't seem to have a console. But Instagram, Facebook, that is the same company, and they have a console. YouTube has a console, and Twitter has a console. And it allows you to, as a person who is making things, so as a musician, and you're making things, and you want to share things, and you want to manage those things, and you want to conduct things in a strategic way. These platforms are a much better way to do it, and I highly suggest if you are creating on a schedule and attempting to kind of reach some milestones, use the consoles, get familiar with what they have to offer as a creator, because just posting, just loosely posting from the front end of any of these things is not really a way to do it. And thinking about things like scheduling and evaluating metrics and paying attention to post types and their popularity and all that kind of stuff is going to tell you a little bit about what you're doing, who your audience is, and the value of your effort. Highly suggest taking a look at the consoles. And I know that a lot of people don't know about them, and they just go straight to Facebook or straight to Instagram or straight to whatever and take care of everything from the front end. Not a great way to do it.
Yeah, and it's nice. I use the console on my phone because I'll batch, like, going through comments if I have, all right, let's be candid here. Usually if I'm taking a shit, I will pull up YouTube Studio and
do some work.
Do some work. Yeah. I got 5 minutes or so.
From the throne.
Typically.
That's when comments as well, typically.
Yes.
Not a... Yep. I don't want to think about these things.
Now you know.
Well, now you do.
Yeah.
Oh, guys.
But aside from where it takes place, you're able to batch some comments. So if you're deliberate with your, all right, I'm going to go through my comments or whatever on YouTube, you can pull it up. You can go through them all, and everything's right there. You can pull up every comment. It doesn't matter what video it's on in order of, like, when it was placed. You can go through, give them a heart, give them a thumbs up, reply if you want to. I don't think they have the canned replies on the console yet, like on the phone, but they do on the web version.
Right.
Which I don't.
Do you use them? I don't use the
No,
canned
no.
stuff.
Well, it's weird because I do end up replying the same way to people because it's just how I speak. But
Right.
I
But
don't
usually with a
use
little
it.
bit more.
Yeah, because I don't feel like it's genuine in my opinion.
Yeah. And usually requires a little bit more info. Because can you alter the canned responses? I've never
yeah.
even tried them,
Yep.
so I don't know
You can
if
make
you can
custom
add,
ones.
you can add to them.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's good to know. I should just try it.
I mean, yeah, I've been thinking about doing it. It's just something that slips in my mind, you know?
Yeah.
It's also a boring topic, apparently. Steven's tired.
I'm always tired.
I'm just kidding.
Last comment, and we're going to get into the second part of today's topic. But Development of a Void launched his channel. I saw one of his videos today.
That's great.
But I didn't know it was live. And what is the name of the channel? I saw it in our Bandless Discord, and I watched it. He did a thing with death, like he has a bunch of valve states and a sick guitar, and played a bunch of like Chuck Schuldiner. I don't know if you guys,
Oh, yeah.
you know who he is.
Of course.
Played a bunch of that stuff.
I'm going to assume.
Looks really good.
This is
Sounds
it?
really good.
Looks like he's got 2 videos up there.
Cool. Congrats, Development of a Void. I didn't know that
job.
you'd already gone live. I thought I was watching sort of like a preview of things to come. But I'm stoked that it's actually up there. I'll subscribe.
Well done. Cool.
There it is. Bam. Oh, I can't actually click on the link from here. That's what I'm realizing.
Oh, yeah. That's annoying. Here,
Oh,
I'll put
well.
it,
That's okay. Put it in the chat.
I'll put in the chat
Anyhow.
for you guys.
All right. So we are. Thank you. Open link in new tab. Fantastic. All right. So, and I just want to subscribe. There we go. 29. Are we going to get Development of a Void up to 30 subscribers before the end of the screen? How about 50? Can we get them to 50? That would be great. Anyway, next part of the topic is simplicity. We're going to talk about things from the point of view of simplicity, things that you guys have going on that is unbelievably simplistic or minimal or basic in some way, however, really delivers big results. It could be in production, could be in admin, could be in your overall workflow or scheduling, whatever. As related to being an artist, either a solo artist or a band, what might one of these items be? Whoever wants to go first.
So I want to be selfish and use my my simple setup. Yeah. So, well, we'll get to it, I'm sure. So I'll take the not easy one for me. A simplified process. So it's on the video making side. Bunn, you know the behind the scenes of my life and my channel. When I feel like I'm up against it video wise, I always have a fallback, and that's Helix Tone videos. And I have such a template now for those videos that it's like I can crank 2 of them out in a night if I really need to, and I've had to do that before. So I've developed, and this can apply to many different things. We've talked about recording templates in your DAW before, right?
Right.
People
Can I add something to it?
Yeah.
Because I think a part that's really important about this is tested templates.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's a template. Templates, yes, absolutely. But what you have that's going on that's really working for you is a tested template that you have worked, tried, refined, and now you know you can rely on it.
Yeah, I've definitely glossed over that. So this is like to the point now because I've done so many of them, just one-offs, you know? And then I got to the point where I was just instinctively making a templatized type of video, but unintentionally. And then I'm like, okay, well, I can just have a template with certain things that are going to go in it, and I just plug and play different things. And some people might think that's I don't know, a little disingenuous or shortcuts, but like we were saying, we have templates. Most of us have templates for our DAWs. We'll have mixing templates. So I just apply this to this particular type of video because it's quick and it saves me time. And
would you not say that moving that part off the table allows you to focus more on any type of spontaneous creative elements that might pop up?
Well, absolutely. I mean, yes. So because I have these templates, like I'm able to I'm working on a video, like I think you're working on somewhat of a similar video where it's for a particular thing, but I don't want the video to be about this thing, so I'm building it into a more
That's what all this here is for.
Yes. It's going to be built
I'm in the middle of working on that video.
There you go. So, yeah, it's like Bunn and I, we want to do videos on helpful stuff. Stephen too. But I don't want the video to be about that thing,
Right.
So it's going to be built into this other thing, but it's taking a little long to get it going with my setup. I don't have much in the way. Anyway.
Yeah.
Because I have a template to crank out a certain type of video, and I have another template for my behind the mix, and I've just been straight up overwhelmed with other things that I haven't been able to do on. But for my Helix tone videos, because I have certain templates going on for that editing process, I can sit down okay, you know what? I don't want to fall behind on YouTube, or I need to get caught back up. I'll do 2 tone videos. So, I can take more time to create these tones, make them better sounding and more authentic, if you will, with my tool, the Helix. And I can do 2 of them, or maybe 3 of them in a day, So, I mean, I come up with the tone. I do research on a tone, depending on the era of the band. I write original music for these videos,
Yeah, both of those things that would taking the most amount of time.
Correct.
But you can afford to spend the time there because you're not piecing the show together.
Exactly.
How does this show work?
I have a format. I have a template inside of my NLE, and I have everything I need graphical-wise that I'm just boop, 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 and I can edit one of those in an hour, which
100%.
It might not sound like that's fast, but that's fast. So
that's really fast.
Templates,
takes me a whole day.
Your videos have a
takes
different
me 3
level
days
of
to edit
artistic.
a video.
Yeah. That's not to say they all are that fast, but I've given myself that as sort of like a fallback, Unfortunately, for my own ego, those are the videos that do the best. I wish all the more in-depth ones and the mixing ones, and I get it, but also my ideals aren't where the ideals of people who watch my channel is, ironically. So
also, you've done more of those than anything else, so
correct.
There is an expectation based
100%.
around that.
I built the channel
human
on
behavior
it to a degree, so
yeah,
it's to be expected, and
nothing wrong
I'm
with
not
that.
going to shy away from it. It's my bread and butter, as I always say. And yeah, so having templates and processes in place for stuff like that, like I said, we mentioned it. We got DAW templates,
refined templates,
like through the process of trial and error. I know people have Jason Sedite's a Line 6 guy. He has templates for his presets in Helix where he'll bring up. He knows he's going to use this, and he knows he's going to use this, and he knows he's going to use this. So he has a template. And then he builds a new tone, and then he saves as, and boom, there you go. Instead of you wouldn't think okay, I'm going to drop this cab in. I'm going to drop this gate on. I'm going to put the gate with these settings. I'm going to pick these 2 cabs. If you have stuff ready to go, then you just boom, 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 boom. Anywhere you can do that is going to benefit you. I just brought up the editing thing, but I have it in almost everything I touch to some degree, to varying degrees.
It's not exclusive to video editing.
Not at all.
No. We have templates for this show. We didn't use it today because we're doing a different format, but we have templates for how this show typically goes.
Yeah,
and even though we are not following a template, this show is still kind of following the template.
Yes. Well, that's what happens when you do it a few times, based on a template or like establishing a flow. You don't always have to refer to it. Now we probably should, but just because we've all been collectively getting busier, like Bandless has been like, oh shit, it's Wednesday, we need to do stuff, you know.
Well,
But
I've been doing that lately on Monday.
yes,
Last couple.
yes, which is good.
Yeah.
But templates, yeah,
Templates.
yeah, tried and true templates. Yep.
Yeah. Refined templates. Stephen, you got a something of simplicity, minimalism, basicness that gets you a significant portion of the way there, that helps take a huge load off.
Yeah, equally uninteresting. I have templates. I have templates in Helix too, but I use Helix templates. If you go into the submenu of the bigger versions of Helix, I don't. Maybe Stomp has it. I've never found it in there yet, but there are templates inside of LT and the rack and the floor for creating different types of things. Everything from like using the versus mic pass throughs and stuff. Like there's templates in there, and you can go in and select all that stuff. That's what I use if I'm building bigger stuff. Like for recording right now, I'm using like dual amp setups with a combination of like IRs and then like a clean DI. So it's making things a lot easier because I can just go in there. But at home, my recording setup for drums and stuff, or especially I have templates just for making YouTube music, background music or anything through playthroughs. And I have the Stomp permanently attached to the computer. It doesn't come off of the computer basically. And I have it already permanently routed to an input in the back of my interface, and it's just there. It's already, like when I pull up the template to start doing it, the drums are basically pre-mixed. My guitar set, it's all ready. Yeah. What's up, Tim Wheeler? And yeah, it's plug and play for the most part. It wasn't initially. It took some work, but once you do the legwork on it,
really worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, because now I there's no
just sit down and
right. Yeah, there's no barrier between me taking an idea from my head to the computer. Now I'm not like, oh, I have to set the drums up, I have to do all this, I have to find the tone I want.
Yeah, that's a godsend really, because I mean I have my go-to patches for certain videos if they're not like, so I've talked about it. I'm doing videos for a music store where I'm using other guitars and writing music. I'm writing all original music for that stuff, but I have a couple go-to tones for, they're usually all tuned up to E or drop D. I'll drop the damn thing down because I'm an idiot. And so I got my go-to patches. I got my recording template. I have everything like ready to go. So I can just come down here and try and write a few riffs, because that's the hard part, right? My wife was like, so wait, you're going to write new music for all of these videos that you're going to do for the store? I'm like, yeah. To me, it doesn't seem like I mean, I have to, and sort of in my head. So anything.
I kind of do it like for every. I think Bunn is the only one of us that doesn't do that.
I have a business strategy.
You're very well. It's working.
It's smart. It's smart. It's smart. But this is I think a rare instance where I don't know that it's a good idea if I'm using my own music for it, because the point is to keep people on their channel and then go to their website,
For sure.
That was part of the thing. But for my own stuff, I know that's a tangent. I could be better with pushing my own music, but then I'd have to learn my own songs again.
You're the work that you're doing for them, you're doing that at a very, very unbelievably competitive rate, and I think there's definitely room there to say, hey, like, why don't we, is it okay if I offer this, take this opportunity to leverage it as more of an opportunity for me creatively as well?
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe it's inappropriate, but you don't know unless you kind of explore it.
Yeah, I think at some point maybe that'll be a thing, but the relationship that I've built with them already and the perks that they've given to me on top of being paid
are pretty sweet.
Are like, I can't argue with them,
Yeah.
I get to play guitars that I would not normally play. I can use anything in the store if I want.
Yeah, besides the
Yeah,
items.
besides what they're.
Yeah.
I've been told multiple times, like, if there's anything in the store you want to do a video on for your channel,
Yeah.
anything in the store is at your disposal. So that's worth the price of admission most of the time.
100%. I'm gonna cap off the topic, but
Yeah.
development of a void kind of brings up, I guess, the sort of theme of what's going on here and what this is all about.
Sorry about that buzz.
Been stuck on finding a more efficient way to plug in and play, too much setting up. And that is ultimately what my offering was as well, more on the side of what Stephen was talking about in terms of the plug and play. I highly suggest, and I will take this so far as to having your guitars out and ready,
Oh,
chords ready to go, anything you can have ready to go. So to give you an example of the, not juxtaposition, but two comparables, two sides of the same coin. So in this space, I have more than enough space and more than enough sort of logistical kind of situational ability or like means to manage it, that I can have it set up permanently for music. So my interface is permanently plugged in, guitars are permanently like ready to go. All of that is 100%. And working on music is very easy in terms of getting in. The only difficult part is being not so specific and getting more into the flow of the creativity.
mm-hmm.
And that's the only barrier I have, which is maybe the biggest barrier. And when you introduce more barriers, that becomes like insurmountable, at least for me.
Yeah.
And then the part that I think a lot of people don't consider in that is just tidiness, general tidiness. Keeping your immediate creative workspace, even if you're a slob and the rest of your life is a mess, try and keep your immediate creative space as clutter-free as possible. It will have a huge impact in terms of your comfort of creativity, your mind, calmness, focus on that one thing, all that. I keep it really tidy. But on the flip side, I do all of my videos in the same room. And my videos are pretty produced, and I use the environment in a, kind of more like a set. And there is an incredible amount of setting up and tearing down. And that is a huge barrier. And the thing that I look forward to the most in terms of potentially growing and becoming a bigger channel is having a dedicated space that has sets. They don't have to be big, elaborate sets, but sets where it's like this thing is always set up. I can just focus on the scripting and the delivery of the dialogue or whatever it is we're going to do. Mm-hmm. And having sets is something that would be huge, 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 huge to my video making life. That unlike the music where I can just sit down and make something, with video, it's like unbelievable levels of effing around to get one thing done.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And you hit on a bunch of things that, I could have easily brought up too. So to surmise and to summarize, having stuff at the ready or as obviously everybody has different circumstances. As like an example, I've been working upstairs a lot because I have a bit of a working space upstairs now, which is critical for a few reasons. The biggest one is like to be in a space where there's natural sunlight and I can have windows open and doors open and I'm not down in this fucking dungeon all the time. Because I'm lucky. I recognize I'm lucky to have a space for my stuff and my recording and a set essentially to work in. But my day job, I also work from home. So being stuck down here all the time was a drag. It's like, oh, I'm down here working all day. And then like time for YouTube. I'm going to work down here on YouTube.
Again.
So it was like, I was never leaving down here. But the point I'm trying to make is like, so upstairs now I have a guitar rack with a couple guitars. Like my wife has a guitar up there and then I have the baritone up there, one of the baritones, at the ready. The stomp is up there like Steven. I have my hub, my Mac plugged into it, and the Stomp is ready to go. There's a cable ready to go. There's headphones up there ready to go. Again, I recognize not everybody's going to be able to have that as a luxury, but the point the three of us I think are trying to make and
working towards it.
It's like get as close to that as you can. Remove as many barriers as you can.
It's the simplest.
Yeah, like having your guitars out is huge. Having a guitar rack is it's massive. I remember putting my guitars in a case, like when I'm done playing, closing it up under my bed. Like, what?
Yeah,
no,
you're far less likely to pick it
absolutely.
up. Quickly.
Well, that's an understatement. That, like it. I pick up my guitar more because it's out and ready to go than ever would, and because of that I'll stumble upon a piece of a riff, or I'll work on a little practice exercise, or I'm like intentionally practicing now, like because it's good for my growth. If I had to grab a guitar out of a case that's in a closet, I wouldn't do it. So yeah. I second and third everything you said about cleanliness is huge too. Generally, I'm clean down here, very, very clean. But because I've just been like in and out because of working upstairs and being overwhelmingly busy with work, I've been popping down just to like do shit or open shit or do these streams. And it's sort of a mess down here, and it's stressful. Like, I'm going to have to take a few hours to clean, and that's good, and that's fine. But having everything clean is good for your mental space. It's good organizationally, knowing where stuff is. Like,
yeah, I need a screwdriver to do my intonation. Where do I put the screwdriver?
Because
in the toolbox.
Yep.
Right.
Because this place is a little bit of a mess. I was having a hell of a time finding my Evertune thing, and I was just. It infuriates me when I'm dirty. Yes, because I know when I'm. Yeah. So you hit on some huge ones that are just like.
Eliminate those barriers. Yeah. It's the simplest.
Get them out of your way.
It's so minimal.
Mm-hmm.
It has a huge impact.
It really does.
I try to like do it. I mean, as stupid as it sounds, like I try to just do it kind of every time. Like if I haven't been in my room for a couple of days, if I've been doing like family stuff, or I took a couple of hours or a night or two, I usually come in and immediately kind of take a look at my surroundings and where is something that I didn't put up so I can put it back now.
Yeah, it's a great idea, man.
So when I do have to look for it next time, I'm not looking for it necessarily. And it's like I bought a shelf off of Amazon for like $20 the last time I was home in Canada, just because I need more. I don't need more places to put things, but I need a place to put things that's organized.
It's like intentional.
Very different. Yeah. Very different.
Like, I'm the same way, Stephen. Like, I'll have intentional places for things. And if it means, I just got this little, you guys, nobody can see it. I don't even think you can see in the video, but I have this little shelf here with legs that I put together from IKEA parts to get stuff up so I could slide stuff under. It's like, so these things are always here now.
You did a second tier as well? The second tier was massive.
Yeah. So like.
Yep, I did that
there we
too.
Go.
Yeah.
So my keyboard can slide under there. My mouse can go under there if I'm practicing. I have everything ready to like be productive.
That was a game changer for me.
Yeah. Oh, and it's like, and it's
so basic.
We should do a video on this stuff too. But like, I have my monitors on stands, so like they're off the desk. It's little shit. I have my hub back there. Anything to like just simplify my workflow to, like you guys said, like if I know where shit is, like we're good. I mean, I got the typical IKEA drawer set that's like right here. So I have, well, it's like, it's so cliche, but like, okay, so my audio stuff, my audio stuff's in my top drawer with other things like video stuff, like it's all has a spot that I'm putting it back in. Like Steven said, like at least if I can come back, I'm like, all right, I know I need to put that away, and I know where it will be. And I'm like that most of the time. Right now, it's a freaking mess. I got guitars from stores, like it's a disaster.
I'm that way, like to the point, like I'm traveling all the time, so I have like a pack like this. This is all my cables and my hard drives.
Beautiful.
And same thing here. This is like my interface and my cameras and. Like I have something for everything.
Yeah,
just makes it easier.
It's interesting. this stuff will seem nerdy and seem like, what do you call that? Compulsive, maybe, to some people, but it's way better than having to look for things. Like when you're being creative, you just want to focus on being creative. You do not want to think about where the hell is that one patch cable to go between these two pedals. Where is that? Whatever. Where's that hard drive so I can start recording? So yeah, especially like Steven's traveling all the time. That's huge.
Yeah, I envy Steven's like organization as far as his travel rig goes, because, and I even like, he was showing me backpacks he has and stuff, because I want to get to a spot where if I want to put my mobile rig in a back, like, it has everything, you know?
Yeah.
It's ready to go. I don't have to worry about it. I know it's organized. We've mentioned this before, but like, you know, Jocko Willink has this saying, discipline equals freedom. And, you know, yeah, like some of this stuff is like, oh, it's so nerdy. I have my USB hub and everything is wired as such. Like, but it's like, it makes it so if you're disciplined with your organization and your cleanliness, then you're free to come down here and just get shit done, you know?
Yeah.
So it's nerdy, but it's huge.
Stephen, you share your studio space in London, in Canada, with your wife. How much does she use it? Do you tend to use it a little bit more than she does?
I use it every day, literally. Like she has a separate area up. Like I built her an office now.
Oh, okay.
In the house, so she has like gym equipment and all her stuff for doing her like yoga live stream stuff, because she teaches yoga too.
Right.
And then she works for a software developer, so a lot of her job is on the computer too. So she has kind of the same setup. She has like a 2019 Mac, but she has basically the identical setup as me. So like different stuff, but the same. Like she can plug in, you know, one of the Thunderbolt 3 dock things, and has a monitor, has her speakers, has an interface, has a guitar rack in the room.
The reason that I ask is because there's going to be a lot of folks who maybe share. There is only one computer in the household, and they share it with their family or their partner or whatever the case may be. And in that case, in terms of if you're making music on the computer, it might be another layer of challenge. And so you guys were sharing stuff for a little while, at least the same room for a little while?
Yeah, all of our stuff kind of occupied the same space. And for recording purposes, a lot of it like kind of goes both ways. Sometimes she'll just use my stuff because she's downstairs already where my shit is. And yeah, and I have, you know, enough guitars, baritones and things that, you know, she can just pick something up and tune it to whatever. And I keep a group of them in specific tunings for that reason. But we kind of developed our own space just because I've been doing school stuff and she's working from home, and that can be with both of us being in the same room. And not to mention, I end up doing things like this while she's doing other things. So it's easier just to have the separate space. But it's also like, at the house, it's my like, I don't know. It's like my room is about the same source where you are, Bunn.
Right.
It's quite small. So I have to like, that's my space of the house right now. But I don't know. I think that's all. Like, we're in the process of getting ready to sell, and I think we're actually like going to build out a full studio. So my hope would.
Are you staying in London?
I think we're going south of there because the reason we're selling in London is because the price is so high.
Right.
Like like we're getting out while the getting's good.
Yeah. Because it's not going to last. As soon as everything goes back to normal, people are going to be leaving to go back to the city.
Right now.
Right. So I think we're going to get a little bit away from that area to be able to purchase something without overpaying.
Right.
But maybe eventually we'll end up back. But I think we're planning on just trying to find land and building a space. But ultimately, I think the goal is to do kind of what you guys were discussing earlier, is to just like have a few pre-made areas that are sets that are set up. This is where we do the podcast. This is where I do gear reviews. This is where I do just regular filming for videos.
And if it was a big enough room, just each corner is another set.
Right.
Like if I had a room that was 4 times as big as this, it would be perfect, which is still not a very big room.
Right.
You know, for those of you in the United States with the imperial measure, it is 9 by 11.5 feet.
Mine's about 7 by about 20. It's more depth, but thinner.
I think my space is like 15 by 11.
Goddamn, nice. Boy.
Yeah. Real estate mogul.
It's curtains. I got curtains.
Curtains.
Come on, guys.
It's curtains.
I gotta put
Nick,
walls
do
up.
you have to share your upstairs space in any way that is impactful to your creativity that you have to be mindful of?
Yeah, it's my living room. So
yeah. But you do have the alternative to just go downstairs.
100%. So it's nice to, like we had a desk set up because Tony was doing stuff up there and she was drawing and she's learning to tattoo. So she has her tattoo guns up there and stuff. But now she's back at work, so that's kind of gone to the side. And we adopted a dog that needed a lot of attention because he was abused in a previous life. So it was important to me to like make sure he didn't have any anxieties, and so it was just easier to be upstairs.
Yeah.
And she was up north working. Like I don't know if I've discussed what the arrangement was for most of this year, but it was kind of been a shit show. So basically, it was not conducive to like a stable household for me to be downstairs at all times. So we built this. I put another monitor arm up there on the desk Tony was using. I got my Mac up there, so we share that little desk area. I have taken it over, and she will 100% concur. But like anybody's upstairs in the living room can use it. Like my computer's there. My kids will occasionally jump on and use it. My son's a guitar player, so he'll come in the living room and grab a guitar and start playing. So it's kind of nice. Like I got a mini version of my rack up there. It looks kind of like a piece of furniture. There's cool guitars upstairs. I mean, it's art. Like we're musicians in my house, so it's like whatever.
Yeah. So it doesn't impact your.
No, I don't think so. We have a small house, so it's sort of like a inconvenience, but we've been crammed on top of each other pretty much since my kids were little. So.
Technical question regarding your own creativity and moving between 2 spaces. I know that Stephen already does this because Stephen released a video about SSDs, but I'm going to guess. I already know the answer, but you work with an SSD and you move that SSD between your upstairs and downstairs life.
100%. I have, so obviously downstairs on my PC build, which hopefully after June 7th won't be my main machine much longer. I have
WDC.
Yeah, hopefully that Mac Mini drops and I'm out of PC world again.
It's not looking good. I have multiple hard drive. Not looking good.
No.
The rumors changed today.
Great.
The rumors changed today. They may be releasing the Mac Pro and
Mac Pro
and setting, or the MacBook Pro and setting back the Mini for a while.
I'm fine if it's a MacBook Pro. With the
I'm kind of with you. I've actually maybe I'll move on from the Air and get the Pro.
Any hoozle.
Yeah, cool stuff. Yeah, sorry.
Moving between spaces, everything is on an external drive.
I have all of my music that I record to any DAW. So Logic goes to that SSD. Reaper occasionally if I use it. Studio One. And
you can boot off of an SSD with Studio One? Like Studio One installed on the SSD?
No, I have it installed on both my machines, but I just plug in my SSD and I can pull from the same sessions. Yeah.
Right.
Sorry. I set my DAW up to also with Logic's library, sound library is on that SSD because I bought a 2 terabyte. It's expensive as shit, but I needed it.
Yeah.
And the Mac Mini's hard drive is small, so I put the Logic stuff on there. I think Perfect Drums library is on there too because I have it run on the Mac on there.
Right.
But yeah, I can plug in on either computer and pull up a project. So I mean that's what I did with Wells. I wrote almost all of the Wells tracks or one of them upstairs. And brought it downstairs to do the final polish and the vocal mix only because like it was just a little bit easier and I could seclude myself. But yeah, I have everything set up to be mobile, so I could work off my Mac Mini, my laptop, and my Stomp, and be totally fine. even if you have a PC, this is technical tangent that isn't necessary, but like I have multiple hard drives in my computer too, like one for my sound libraries.
This is your PC downstairs.
Yeah, my PC downstairs. Like I have where on a laptop I would have externals for this stuff. On the PC I have the capability of putting it internal. So I have multiple SSDs with like one my sound library, one for I do my video work as my scratch discs. I have it on an SSD and I'm editing, and then I drop it in my backup drive and I clear it off and I can do stuff. So I use different hard drives for everything, externals whenever I can, because they're just so fast now.
Yeah, I think I've always worked off of external SSDs or external drives for audio. Because I come from the time when I used to bounce between studios.
Yep, exactly.
And all that kind of stuff. I don't do that so much anymore, but now I can bounce between computers and bounce between sessions, all that kind of stuff.
I have multiple hard drives, like,
highly
kicking around.
Suggest. There are other benefits. Definitely suggest watching Stephen's video on SSDs. Stephen, do you want to talk about that topic at all in terms of benefits, in terms of the simplicity of movement and you work at a studio? You've been working on an album in a studio and you demo at home. This is a real life thing that's happening right now.
Correct.
And this is exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, literally.
Not moving between upstairs and downstairs, moving between
countries.
Literally countries. And going to an actual recording studio and working on projects.
Correct. So this is where my record lives.
Yeah.
All of the drum tracks, it's all here. I take it with me and we plug it into the studio computer. And then we boot up the Pro Tools session. I don't have Pro Tools. So we're taking I basically bounce all my stems out of Logic. And then we do the rest of it in Pro Tools because Sean, who is the other guitar player in my band, is Pro Tools certified and he teaches pro audio at a college. So he's much more hip to modern practice and is very versed in Pro Tools. It's what's comfortable to him. So I bring him everything in stem format, goes in there, and then we work on the record.
You guys don't use any MIDI whatsoever.
We use MIDI for drum replacement occasionally.
Because Pro Tools support for MIDI is cumbersome.
It's a little weird, yeah. When we have done pre-production, like on this record, I brought the songs on my laptop and that same drive from when they were in Logic. Right. And then we edited the MIDI drums and stuff together in the room to make changes and rearrange the songs. So once we had the array done that way, then we exported it all WAV to press and then started the real drum recording and all that.
Right.
Yeah, man, it's doable without that stuff. I mean, of course you can take the laptop and stuff, but even that, I mean, the ability to take a laptop and do it is a big difference from when I started recording. Because I was still using 2-inch tape machines when I first started.
I used to I was a tape tech.
I did that too. I realigned a controller for.
How's your azimuth?
Ugh. Gross.
How's your azimuth, man?
How's
your polarity?
Ugh. SMPTE time code.
Gonna stripe the 24th track with some time code.
Ugh. It was brutal.
Drop frame or non-drop frame?
Oh boy. Yeah, I've done a lot of that work, and I don't miss it. I do miss recording to tape sometimes, but also I like the convenience of correction in the digital world, and honest, it's just easier. But the truth of it is that you can take something that small and have all this stuff. If you're working on a project as a collaboration, like you can just go to your buddy's place, like I'm doing. I'm coming from Canada, the Dayton, with an external hard drive. We plug it in and start working.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, and some stuff I even transfer over Dropbox. Like if I do DIs at home and we need to add them to something later after I've already left.
Yeah,
I'll just put them on Dropbox. They get dropped into the same session. I don't even have to be there. So there's a lot of options.
That's how you recorded the Wells vocals.
It is. I recorded all of that into basically the stereo track of the song and recorded it all in Logic, and then just exported the files and put them on Dropbox, and he put them into his
You don't
project.
even need to be DAW agnostic, you know what I mean? Or I mean, it can be. It's like you just export shit. It's
you got to be
not even a thing.
mindful of start times and all that kind of stuff,
Right.
and also sample rates.
Absolutely.
All of
that's stuff you coordinate that stuff, and we're all dweebs, so we have a good idea of what we record. We probably all record in the same way anyway.
I remember in the early days, someone we had recorded a bunch of stuff, and then they went off and recorded a bunch of other stuff, and they recorded everything in 16-bit 48 kilohertz, and I was recording everything in 24 bits 44.1 kilohertz. And it was before software was good at interpolating stuff.
Yeah.
That didn't
Now
work.
it can do it pretty good, but back then it didn't jive at all,
No.
and it was a huge friggin' problem.
Yep.
But anyway, SSDs, like, being mindful of where your data lives and how you manage it, and SSDs or external hard drives of some sort are highly recommended in terms of portability of everything, also efficiency of your system. I know a lot of people who are locked to their system drive. They record everything to the system drive. There's a whole bunch of issues about that. If the system drive fails, which it is more likely to fail than an external drive first, with heavy use, if you're heavily reading and writing to a system drive, it is, in addition to being the system drive, there is a higher likelihood of it failing than if it is just doing its regular system work. And I'm talking about heavy read writes, like either audio or video media encoding, like writing and unwriting.
Yeah, this would be a good topic for a video, because there's a lot of little things too. Like I have Backblaze. It's so cheap, and it like backs my computer up and anything plugged into it.
To the cloud?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then it's like $7 a month or something
Amazing.
ridiculous for unlimited whatever's plugged into this thing. It backs it up. Also on my SSD is like all of my personal brand assets, as far as like stuff for the channel, thumbnail templates, like everything is on there. So if I need to do YouTube stuff, I can do it down here. If I need to do YouTube stuff, I can do it up there. I don't need to be in anyone. I could do it on somebody else's computer as long as they had, Photoshop or whatever,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think really since you and I started doing more things together, like video wise and whatnot, that's when I really, really got hip to Google Cloud services. And
oh man,
it like Google Drive is my main area.
it's huge for so many things. Like, I mean, we have our Bandless docs in there. You have all your docs and your templates in yours. We share ideas with each other, all three of us, usually with a Google Drive or occasionally Dropbox.
Not a very exciting thing. It's very nerdy, but it's a huge part of my whole creative life.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. But it's these little things that I think would make a good show. It's like the little things you don't think about that can
Well, it's been able to tie everything together. I go home and I have supper. But when I was before the show, I was at home, which is down the block, and I was working on my email that I do a monthly email for the Bunn, and I was working on that, and it's just in Google Drive. I can call it up here, I can call it up there, I can call it up on my phone. It seems really nerdy, and it seems like, oh well, that's not very exciting. But I remember clearly, just a couple years ago, where I kept everything locally. Especially those kinds of things, and I could only access them and work on them when I was there at that computer.
Man.
So cloud services, another very simple, very basic thing that has completely transformed in terms of what's possible and how much I can task myself to, and it doesn't feel like work. That's I think another big thing. So, I'm just kind of picking away at a script while I'm having breakfast or whatever, because everything is everywhere. It's always accessible. And to me, I'd rather do those things than watch YouTube videos or cat videos on Instagram or whatever the heck. Oh, those cat videos. But I'm gonna shut that down. I think we're gonna just grab some comments here for the remainder.
Yeah.
Anything anyone wants to add, like the simplest things that have made the biggest differences before we shut that part down?
I mean, the SSD thing is huge. I only fully adopted it maybe a year ago.
Right.
And I can't imagine having my music on a drive that I couldn't get at anywhere. It's a weird thing, but it's basically just it's Nick's hard drive. It's got everything I need to do anything I need regarding the channel or YouTube stuff.
Yeah.
So it's huge.
I'm gonna edit some MIDI tonight, and I'm gonna take I don't know. Oh, there it's plugged in, but I have one of those T5s, Samsung T5. It's this big. I'm gonna take it with me tonight, put it in my pocket, and walk down the street, plug it in, and edit MIDI.
Well, I mean, it's even and this is a comment that I have stuff for work. Like, this is a shoot. It's all on this SSD,
The whole
so
thing's
I
there.
can
You can go to Chicago.
I can
shoot
put
a bunch
stuff.
of stuff.
Yep, I can work down here if I need to. I can work
put it in
upstairs
your
if I
pocket.
need to. I put the Resolve database on the hard drive with the project. I make a new database. That's way nerdy shit for every project.
No.
But so I can. It doesn't matter. I get a new computer. I can work on it. You know?
Yeah, the simple things are usually really, really simple that make the biggest difference. And I think that's the overriding philosophy is what can you do to simplify whatever it is your process is, where the most is sort of taken care of in the smallest amount of space. But,
for sure. And while you're looking for a comment, one last thing, the low-hanging fruit, I think Steven touched on it. We touched on it a little bit, but to me, the Helix itself, having a stomp or
a modeler,
it's
the stomp is a special box. I'm starting to realize.
The
Someone
flexibility
recently
you have with it is pretty ridiculous for the
It's so
size.
small. It offers so much, and a lot of folks lately, because there was a lot of hype recently on the Quad Cortex, people asking me, are you going to get into that? I'm like, for me to buy that, that's $2,000 Canadian. And the percent of improvement in terms of sounds that it offers me, I don't know, maybe there's a marginal improvement. None that
And that's
an average
listener. Yeah.
Well, it's none that an average listener is going to notice.
Correct.
Nope.
Anyone who likes the music I make isn't going to notice that I even change tones because I've tested that. I will go between the Stomp, some software, and my HD Pro, and nobody notices. They're just like, sounds great.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't think it's worth it to me that way. And also something else to consider in terms of having a floor modeler, especially a flagship floor modeler. I wouldn't even do this with a HD, or what do you call it? A Helix, like the full floor. What is there a name? It's not the LT. It's just Helix floor, right?
Floor.
It's just called Helix Floor, yeah.
I would be worried about gigging with that because I don't want $2,000 worth of hardware to take a mug of beer. There's so many times where I've got soaked down in the front of some gig and some drunk guy's moshing or whatever. And a Stomp, I could take it. It's like $650. And it will probably dry out, hopefully. But yeah, Quad Cortex or a Helix floor unit, I wouldn't be able to take that.
I got the protectors from Chad Boston's place. Hopefully that will prevent that issue when it comes about.
It'll definitely help. It'll
Okay.
definitely help, yeah. Yeah, and the other thing is like I back up my Helix, on occasion, but of course when I update, like if this thing ever went and I needed to get a new one, I'm up and running in as long as it takes to put my backup back into it,
Yep.
with all of my shit. And creating patches on here, and then I got files right here or my own presets that I use. I'll just download it upstairs and put it on the Stomp. That's what I've done.
Yeah.
So
I don't even have to back up my Helix because it's the same presets that
exactly
is my preset pack.
We have that luxury. We have preset packs. And Steven, like, I don't know, do you use the presets in your preset packs for writing?
For YouTube stuff I do, and I have some presets I use for rehearsal and live stuff that actually utilize the full potential of the floor thing.
Same, yeah.
But if I'm just using Stomp, yeah, the most of the stuff that I've made available on the free pack download things on my website, things I use pretty regular.
Yeah.
I have go-tos that work. It's fine.
Me too, yeah. It's just, the point is like, the things you can do with this thing,
Oh, it's
routing
unbelievable.
wise, is like, yeah, it's crazy, man.
Yeah. The video that I'm doing right now, I'm coming up against some of the limitations in terms of how I was hoping to
Route stuff.
Yeah. And so there are solutions, but I'm trying to find the most elegant, sort of seamless kinds of solutions.
Interesting.
It's all very simple stuff, but it is an incredible box, and it's so small. And even my Helix on a pedal board with 2 other pedals is still smaller than a Helix LT or a Helix Floor or a Quad Cortex. And I can put it in a backpack, go to a rehearsal, go into the loop of whatever amp is there, and have my tones. That's so incredible.
Yeah, I'm working on a similar video where it's just going to be just a small little setup, like, a tuner, the Stomp.
Oh, you know what I learned today?
Huh.
Is that the tuner in the Helix Stomp now has full spill. It's only since the last update that
What does that mean?
That means if you have a looper going, or if you have long delay trails or whatever, if you engage the tuner, it does not negate the existing patch. It will keep going.
Oh, sick.
In the past,
yeah.
the reason why I've always kept a tuner with a modeler is because I wanted that stuff to keep going while I tune in between songs, and then stop tuning, cut everything. Yo, this is this next song. I'll write. I say it exactly like that. Yo.
Yo.
This is that next song.
Yeah. Props to Beastie Boys.
So cavalier. About.
Yeah.
I don't even really want to be here. Here we go. That's funny, man. I didn't know that either.
Yeah, it's brand new, and I only found out about it because
that shits on my video a little bit.
Because I was trying to come up with the most useful system this way. So yeah, for those of you who enjoy Spill to me is really important in every aspect of like effects and routing.
It's a huge part of my live stuff. It's necessary.
But yeah, the Helix, the whole Helix family now includes Spill in the tuner mode. It's an option. You have to turn it on or off.
I wonder if that's in conjunction with the patch spilling, right?
That's right. So it's either the patch or the snapshot.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. So you can go patch to patch. So foot switch at 1, 2, 3, tone 1, 2, 3. You can go, it can be within a single patch where you're just changing pedals, where it's assigned to foot switches. Every mode offers Spill.
I think you can still have snapshots and have that enabled, but it also limits you will run up against a limit of DSP.
The only thing with snapshots is you can't use the tuner in snapshots.
Right.
At least I don't know how to make it work without getting another switch, an external switch.
Yeah, you have the other switch.
Yeah.
You could. Yeah. Yeah.
So
I have a little tiny one from Analog Endeavors. It's just 2 little buttons.
Yeah.
Works baller. No complaints.
Yeah, the little tuners, man. I don't know if I'm giving away my video if I do this.
It doesn't matter.
It really doesn't. Like this is a tiny tuner. Like this is the display.
Yeah.
For the note, but it's also the pedal to engage and disengage.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So tiny. But yeah, I mean, this is sick.
Super cool.
Yeah. Little pedal.
But yeah, in terms of today's topic of simplicity, I've never had an item, a piece of gear that was so, as was the popular term, clutch. This stomp sure really is clutch. You guys like that?
Yeah, it is clutch. Clutch.
This sure is one clutch stomp.
It feels good when you say it.
Anyway,
yeah, with that.
It's such an unbelievably simple device. It's not an advertisement for Line 6 Helix. It just
No, not at all.
I had, I owned the full rack unit.
Hey, better late than never, Miles.
Hey, Miles, we were talking about you. All good things, of course. But now that you're a TikTok star, we'd like to have you on the show. I'd love to have like a four.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Miles, if you're available next week, I'd like to talk about TikTok and social media in general as an artist. None of the three of us have any significant experience with TikTok, Stephen being the veteran of the three of us. So,
Well, I'm only on there because of Miles.
It
was
other
Miles'
thing,
suggestion that I be on there.
there you go.
it's probably not. Yeah, he's probably
It'd be great if we could just do 4-person shows every single week, to be truthful. So yeah, we'll talk about this more, Miles. And I'd like to get Synth Chris on here as well, if you're interested, Synth Chris.
The other thing, real quick, the Pod Go is also.
I was just gonna say that, like, don't
ridiculously, don't sleep. My son has one.
As far as I can tell, the Pod Go, you can make it in terms of the kinds of tones that I make, and I think most of what you guys make, there might be some differences, but I feel like everything that I make, I could do on a Pod Go.
Yeah, I think,
and I would be 100% satisfied.
Yeah,
with it.
Stephen would probably run up against the most DSP limitations because he likes to use
delays and all
lots
that.
of delays and reverbs.
Right.
But you can still have at least one, if not two, of each of those, depending on the thing. But yeah, there is a limitation to it. But the limitation is like at a point where it could probably do for the three of us 85 to 90% of what the three of us need to do.
Yeah.
And
But
it's
I tested it. I mean, even with the reverbs and stuff, using snapshots on it, I can do exactly what I need to do. It's fine.
no, so there you go.
With the Pod Go.
Yeah, the only thing I couldn't do was bass stuff running in parallel for recording. That's
Right.
literally the limitation is I couldn't run two things.
Right.
It's a sick piece of hardware, and it has an expression pedal.
It's highly impressive.
I kind of like the GUI a little bit more.
I like.
I mean,
you
and
call it a
like
GUI.
Simplified. Is that? Should I not?
It's
call
just
it GUI?
it's
No,
yeah
it
no
is
you're
the
right.
GUI.
It's different in its approach, but it's more visual.
The graphical user interface is quite pleasing.
You can also set up Helix in HX Edit to be equally visual. Like you can set it up not to show the lists, but to show pictures.
You can.
Yeah. I don't remember how to do it by accident at some point. Yeah. There's a way you can have it as icons instead of lists. You can't do it in the hardware. You can do it in Edit.
Son of a mother. Oh, there's a new update.
Yeah. Update today, I think.
Is it just random shit, bug fixes?
I think it's just bug fixes.
Yeah, it's not a full-blown update from what I was reading.
Anyway, we're really doing some insider stuff here. Apologies to the
My
folks,
bad,
but
my bad.
sort of where I wanted to kind of end on that was current modeling technology and its downsizing. There's a simplification that's happening there. However, it simplifies the portability of the artist's opportunities in terms of I can build a rig that I can just take a component of it out to a rehearsal, use the existing amps that are there, plug into them, have my tones, I can go to a mid-sized venue and maybe there's supplied backline and use that and I'm good, where it's shared backline. Or I can have a full rig built out from it and, go on tour and have my own backline. And I always have my own sounds. And when I sit down to record, I still have those sounds. And it's in a thing that's this big. It's very small, very portable, very powerful, but very simplistic in not only its form factor and multiple use cases, but also its user interface and all that kind of stuff. It's very simple to use, even though it's unbelievably complex in what it offers. It's crazy. So
it really is. And like
amazing time.
I haven't even touched on like what you can do MIDI wise if you have it hooked up to like a computer or something. Like
I'm doing that right now.
I played around with it a little bit where I've had it like in the DAW, get to a spot and then send MIDI information via USB and change my patch.
Yeah.
Which is like insane.
Doing that for Vens, because Vens seeks to be a laptop band. Just
Embrace the fuck
me,
out of it.
Theo, and the laptop. And everything just happens right in the laptop, and all the patch changes are included. Yeah, amazing. But we're gonna key off on that. My pal Synth Chris says he's totally down. For those of you who do not know Synth Chris, I usually open up the show by saying the @ thing. Most of you guys know this, but if you go at the username, you can have a conversation in the chat. For those of you who do not know Synth Chris, he is a music producer. He plays a baritone conversion Strat, so a Strat converted with a Warmoth neck. You've got a DiMarzio pickup in it. Does really heavy stuff. I feature him a lot on my own channel. Smart guy, knows what's going on. Lives in the Midwest United States. And hook up with him. I'd love to have him on. He says he's interested. He's got a lot to talk about. He does a lot of programming, like hardcore computer programming to help with his music creation in very interesting ways. We'll talk more about that in the future. And Miles says he's down for a four-way and development of Void has Miles's new name down pat, Mr. TikTok. It sounds tough, actually. I see.
Where's my money?
With a cane.
Yeah,
with a cane, but the cane isn't for walking. The cane is like for A style.
For hitting.
Your time is up if Mr. TikTok shows up.
Yeah.
Where's my money?
Well, he's that guy who's saying, I better not see you on here on TikTok.
Yeah.
This is my TikTok. This is my TikTok.
Don't let me see you posting.
Oh, I like it. I like it so much.
Oh man.
Especially with it, like if he just keeps because Miles is like super happy and super stoked all the time. If he that's his character, but it is like bone-chilling serious.
Yeah, he slowly.
But it still has that same delivery.
We're gonna end up on like the dark side of TikTok, where we find Miles like murdering someone, because that's happened on TikTok as well.
Oh no! Okay,
wonderful, wonderful.
No, this is not the Miles I know. This is not the Miles I know.
Just live
Miles,
streaming this
you've
body.
changed.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, TikTok's a wild place, man.
Yeah. Miles recently got a BMX bike, and I'm jealous.
All right.
Yeah. Anyway,
good stuff to get in your 30s, pal. Wait for your first.
I'm going to be
injury.
50, and I've had one almost all my life, and they all got stolen.
Consider a fall at 50. That's all I'm saying.
To bring it all home with weird stuff and what we want as older, and as talking to someone who is now living in Canada, but someone who's been there. Why are Razor scooters popular in Canada?
I don't understand. Yeah.
We got over them 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I remember the day they came out. It was literally one day, and it just went crazy. It exploded.
It's so weird.
Well, the American kids got rid of their scooters, and the Canadians.
No, they're a big deal here.
They went away when I was in high school.
The big thing.
Yeah,
right
it's
now
so
is
wild. I see lots of people
motorized ones.
on them there.
Yeah. But the key factor is if they didn't have electric motors in them, they wouldn't be as popular as they are.
Oh, they're electric.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen that. I've
All the
just
ones
seen
red.
like kids at skate parks on them, which is weird.
Well,
really?
it's you got to imagine
Yeah.
it has something to do with YouTube culture. Like everybody got those, one wheels, and then they had, boosted boards, and then they have like more and more electronic shit that you see on YouTube, and the kids are like, I want one of those, but the parents
Right.
don't want to buy $2,000 worth of battery powered scooter, so they get them a motorized razor.
Right. I'm not sure what's going on. I just know here in Toronto, I see them every single day, back and forth, going, up and down the street, like fast.
They're a curse on the non-motorized ones are a curse on skate parks here in the States.
Yeah, I don't see those at the
it's a
skate
disaster.
parks here. It's mostly skaters. Skateboarding is huge in Toronto, though. Like,
Skateboarding's so big in Canada. It's a thing because there's a skate park
Skateboarding
right
is
behind our
not
house
gone anywhere
in
in
London.
the States, just so you know.
No, it's
skateboarding.
I don't
is
know. I'm
alive
out of the
and
loop.
yeah, here it's big, but it's underground. It's very underground.
It's not underground here in the States.
it's
I don't
not,
think. I don't think. I also seek it out, so who knows?
I seek out snack foods like what tastes good.
Twix. How do you like those Twix?
I'll
What's your
take
favorite candy?
candy,
Yeah.
like
They can
straight
include a chocolate
sweet
bar.
or like
So like my go-to is Reese's Pieces, but I overwhelmingly hate Reese's Pieces, the little M&M ones.
Right.
But I overwhelmingly hate fake peanut butter in everything else.
But
for
that
some-
is like A1.
for some reason that's like I could live without anything else.
I'm
Straight up-
a Mr. Big guy. Because
we
when
don't
you're
have
this
egg.
big, they call you Mister.
they don't have Mr. Bigs in the States.
Oh, really?
No,
What happened?
I don't know. We don't have those. We also don't have Coffee Crisp, which is pretty okay.
Oh, wow. They used to be big U.S. candies. I guess they just never got popular.
No, but you guys had a thing that we had temporarily that you guys have it all the time, like Trix is a cereal, stupid. Kit Kat. You guys have the big ones, like the singular big Kit Kat bars.
That's right.
You guys
yeah.
have those all the time, but we only have the little ones.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. Payday and Reese stuff. Those are my jam. Payday is the jam for me.
Oh, delicious.
So random. My bad.
No, it's all good.
And
We're running out
here we
of
go.
things.
Well, we're done. But Miles is saying they're popular in the States too. I got some TikToks
Oh,
to send you,
man.
dude. And
I'll
you know,
participate. Like Miles, we were talking about it would be a funny series to have you teach us idiots how to use TikTok properly.
yeah, we
But
should do a
especially
tutorial.
like imagine me
I'm way into this idea. It's hilarious.
like the piece of shit me trying to be like you know how I am with Facebook. Like imagine him trying to legitimately teach me the benefit of TikTok.
Well,
But
I think
guess
the
my
other
music is on
opportunity-
TikTok now, so
Yeah, you could use it.
Yeah.
The other benefit of the platform is if a platform is going hard one way, the opportunity there is to be disruptive and use it completely the other way. And there
Oh, yeah, for
that
sure.
might be an opportunity to gain some traction on any given platform. The big
reluctant
platforms, you
TikTok
can't do
star,
anything
here I
with them
come.
anymore. You know, there is no disruption left for YouTube. There is no disruption left for Facebook. Everything's been done on those platforms. But
Yeah.
TikTok, maybe there's room for disruption there.
On that
but
note,
anyway.
OnlyFans is really pushing musicians now. I don't know if anyone's
Yeah,
seen
I
those
know.
ads.
Yeah, I have seen it. Well,
musicians with their dicks
OnlyFans,
out.
yeah, OnlyFans actually started.
Well, that's
as,
it.
No, big artists.
I
have done.
remember.
We
yeah.
get it. Yeah, they're
OnlyFans.
big artists.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't a salacious thing
Yeah.
at first.
I didn't know OnlyFans was a porn site until it became a giant porn site. I thought
not a
it was
porn
another
site, Bunn.
Patreon.
It's a legitimate enterprise. It just got taken over by
Exactly, it got taken over
like,
by the
feet
adult.
people, and I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Like a version of Patreon. It just kind of went the wrong way, but the right
Exactly.
way, I guess.
It's
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, people are making legit livings off of it, and I'm not knocking it. Like, make your money, girl.
That's what I'm saying.
make your money guy. Like everybody,
Yeah.
there's no limit
told
as to who's on it.
Tony and I had a very candid conversation about, like, jokingly. She's like, "Oh, I could just go on OnlyFans and have boob videos." I'm like, "Do it, do it, babe. If you want to do it, do it." Because if people pay,
I want to do it,
they
but
can make money.
completely just like me eating food, like just me with no shirt on, glutton
You're
style.
making a joke, but like, you're a bear, and there is a market for a
I
bear
know
eating
about
a
them
food.
bears.
You would clean up.
I might do it.
My lord.
I could use the money.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
Okay, this is where it's going.
There
Okay.
we go.
Bye.
All right, that's the end of the stream.
Keep an eye out for Steven's bear OnlyFans.
I'd like
Bear
Do it
the
to.
on
woods.
TikTok too.
I'd like to thank everybody with us over at Patreon. It is the people with us over at Patreon that make this show possible, even
you,
though we get into some
We're
interesting
just keeping
topics.
up with the
With the
current
modern trends. Yeah.
Okay, and that's what we have to do. Bandless OnlyFans.
Of
I
course.
mean,
But
that's
yeah,
what Patreon.
next
is.
week we're going to talk, I think, a little bit more about social media and the artist thing. We'll get Miles on here, and social media is a huge pain in the ass for a lot of people. Nick, you have a real hard time with it.
I'm just a grumpy fuck.
Yeah, I enjoy social media. Stephen, how do you feel about social media in general?
I'm down the middle.
Right. It's like it's got.
I
its pluses
understand
and
it's a
benefits.
necessary evil.
Right.
And that's
Right. So we'll get
Yeah.
Miles on. We're going to talk about using social media as an artist. Maybe some interesting ways or some ways that we can avoid the trappings of social media. Some of the ways that we can get over some of the difficulties that we have, intellectually and philosophically and maybe emotionally with social media. I actually wrote a big piece on this today, so it's relevant. So hopefully we can get Miles on because he has that, deep not Snapchat, but it's very similar. What is it called? TikTok.
TikTok.
Yeah, he's got that big TikTok
Snapchat.
presence going on.
Tick snap.
Bandless only fans. Yeah, Chris, we're going to start it, and it's just going to be shirts off, dudes all the time.
It's just gonna be
Shirts off, dudes all the time.
just shots of our feet the whole time.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring back LiveJournal because I miss it.
LiveJournal was actually pretty sweet.
There was Goth Journal as well.
Right, but LiveJournal was a ton of
What
goth
is
chicks.
that?
It's
Ooh, you don't
pre
go on?
MySpace, or at the beginning of MySpace, there was also LiveJournal. It was actually before MySpace.
Yep.
Just
was
Friendster and
dial-up stuff.
LiveJournal.
Ah,
Friendster, I guess, was the first real social media platform. It didn't last very long though. Anyway, next week we're going to talk about social media as an artist and how to get over it and maybe how to use it. None of us are amazing at using it, but we do use it, and it is the whole reason things are happening for us. So that's what we're going to talk about and bring back Vampire Freaks. I remember that one.
Oh God.
Yeah.
That was a good time.
Anyway, so I'm going to end the stream. Anything you guys want to add in final?
no. But appreciate everybody's support on Patreon. It legitimately has paid for everything. So
Legitimately. Yeah.
legitimately,
It's a
like,
big deal.
Yeah.
It's